and that's the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if you've noticed, they've had some quiet moves offensively. They lost Romeo Doubs to the Patriots.
Yeah.
They lost Dontavian Wicks to the Eagles. That opens the door for Matthew Golden, the burner from Texas, to have a big season. He kind of, listen, I'm not calling him anybody a bust. He had a quiet season. I think he went like the longest stretch for any first-round receiver without a touchdown in like 20 years. He did nothing most of the season. And then you see against the Bears, he had an electric touchdown.
I think you got to be careful. Roma Dunze hasn't done anything for the Bears, and I like both.
He did some stuff last. I mean, Golden did like nothing.
I think he's pretty talented.
I like him. I think he's going to be fantasy football, guys. Put Golden on your flag list. He only got 29 catches for 361 yards, Colin. That's like a 2-week stretch for Jamar Chase. Okay, we got to see more.
Yeah, and they also had a lot of mouths to feed. I mean, I don't know. I think I don't worry about their tight end and wide receiver group. I think their offense is fine. I don't worry about Green Bay. My take on Green Bay is, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary are gone. It's Micah Parsons, who's not great against the run. Jeff Hafley left. So I lose this great defensive coordinator. I lose a couple of my bigs up front. Micah's not good against the run. How can you? Well, I mean, whenever I find a team like Green Bay that I really like their coach, I really like their offensive pieces, my question is, well, can you keep their offense off the field? That's why it's so important. Like the reality is, with Chicago, the knock on not getting an edge rusher. I mean, if you look at what Chicago did in the draft, is they think their offense is going to be so gifted they're going to ball control. You're not going to get the ball back. I don't think Green Bay has Chicago's offensive talent, and I think Ben Johnson's more creative than LaFleur. I'm not sure he's a better coach, but he's more creative. Yeah. So I don't worry about Green Bay and points and skill.
All right. It's been a while since we last brought up the Green Bay Packers, and that's mainly because nobody else is really talking about them. But let's be honest, the Green Bay Packers were a genuinely strong team last season. Sure, they got absolutely wrecked by injuries, and even before that, there was some inconsistency. Still, you could unmistakably see the raw talent and promise. Now, let's talk about Matthew Golden. I recall watching his draft live when he was first selected. Everyone was buzzing with excitement. The mood was, finally, they're taking a wide receiver. They've got a clear number one guy, right? Things are about to become much more defined. Dependable weapons. Kraft and Golden. That's the duo. But that's not how the offense actually looked. It was anything but that clear-cut. I've touched on this in a few other videos when discussing other wideouts. Sometimes players explode onto the scene immediately, but other times, it genuinely takes a couple of seasons to develop. So calling Matthew Golden a bust at this point is pretty ridiculous. However, you can start to understand the way the Green Bay Packers seem to function, and how Jordan Love operates. Let's imagine a spectrum. On one side, you have an offense where the quarterback actively tries to get specific guys the ball. On the other side, you just take whatever the defense gives you. We usually only talk about this when it involves diva wide receivers demanding the ball, forcing T. rows, trying to get their guy going, etc. The counter-argument is always, just take what the defense offers. Don't force it to anyone, blah blah blah. I'd argue the Packers are a decent example of why you need a happy medium. This is why, going into last season, before things got derailed a bit by Kraft's injury, I kept saying, you have to feed him the ball. Feed him. I made entire separate videos on why the Packers simply needed to force-feed Kraft. But they never really did that. Then he'd have a couple of big games, and I'd say, see? This is exactly why you need to feed him. Yet they never seem to have that intention. Maybe it's because no one views the Packers as having genuine, defined weapons, a true WR1, WR2, and so on. There are advantages to that approach, sure, but there are also clear disadvantages. Especially in those crucial, must-have moments, you find yourself thinking, where are you going to go? You end up relying on players to randomly step up. That's why I wanted to see that foundation built around Kraft more than anything else. But make no mistake, this offense absolutely has to feel centered on getting the ball into Golden's and Kraft's hands, combined with pounding the rock on the ground. Not just a we'll spread it around mentality. No, it should be about consistently giving the ball to your playmakers, again and again and again. That's what you want to achieve here. And you need to do it consistently, week after week. His should be the year. If Matthew Golden is who he's supposed to become, and Tucker Kraft is who I know he already is, and given the type of quarterback Jordan Love is, and the kind of play caller Matt LaFleur is, these guys should be feasting. I'm not saying they're Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. But the mindset should be similar. These are the monsters on your offense. This is the direction everything is heading. Combine that with an ideally creative, physical, tough running game, which then only sets up easier and easier throws for Kraft and Matthew Golden. So it's kind of interesting. On one hand, you could argue, isn't it beneficial that defenses never really know your specific plan of attack? And yeah, again, there are advantages to that wide open sense of I'll call hike, go through my reads, and just get the ball to whoever is open. That's almost like come by a football, right? Come by a NFL. But typically, the best run offenses don't always run away from emphasis. And again, I'm not saying force the ball. That's the opposite of what I want. What I do believe is that the Packers will be the best version of themselves when there's a greater emphasis on their top guys. When that emphasis is clear. So I do have expectations for Matthew Golden and Kraft again. I'm really combining the two of them right now. I'm not sure exactly when Kraft will return or how that timeline works. I've read that he'll be back early in the season, but what early means exactly, I don't know. But once everyone is fully healthy, here's what I want. I want to feel that this offense is actually threatening. When I look at the Packers, I want to think, okay, they're playing Team X. They really have to slow down Golden and Kraft. I want their production to be so high that stopping them becomes the opponent's primary plan of attack. That's what defenses will try to do. Right? And then you have other pieces to work with. You know how to scheme around that. You know how to use that attention to your advantage. You know how to expose defenses for over-focusing on your stars. That's something Andy Reid does incredibly well. Yes, Travis Kelce is the go-to guy. He's Patrick Mahomes' ultimate weapon. But because of that, Andy knows how to toy with you. He schemes Kelce wide open, or because you're so focused on Kelce, he gets MVS so wide open that the guy is still waiting for defenders to catch up. That's what happens when you truly prioritize key pieces. If you're a great play caller, you know how to use that to your advantage. You know how to mess with defenses and defensive coordinators. That's what I'm hoping to see. This offense has always had plenty of power and plenty of things to desire. Jordan Love, there isn't a single throw on the field that man cannot make. And we know he loves to be aggressive, loves to push the ball downfield. I want to see him start to truly develop these relationships. That's why I keep saying Golden and Kraft, over and over. I really want to feel like they're all on the same page, fully connected. And they haven't had that. Not since 2023, when Jordan Love took over. Honestly, if you asked me right now, who is Jordan Love's favorite weapon? I have no idea. And sure, in the comments, you can always say, isn't that a good thing? And again, it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's bad. But I think in many ways, especially for the quarterback, it matters. Look at Matthew Stafford. He obviously wants to get the ball to Puka and Devontae. But he doesn't force it to them, because he's an elite passer. Jared Goff clearly wants to get the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's an elite passer, whatever words you prefer for Goff. But he doesn't force it. So you can have that emphasis. You can make that your foundation, and everything else can sprout from there. And again, I just haven't seen the Packers realistically do that over the last few years. I genuinely think that will help this Packers team reach, I hope, a deeper level of consistency. Sometimes when you don't put that emphasis on specific players, you run into issues. The Eagles were another great example. Jalen Hurts was very much the type to just take what the game gave him. And it wasn't bad, he had plenty of success, but the offense was inconsistent. That's why they had halves where nothing happened. You can understand how that occurs. On the flip side, if you're hyper-focused on one player, take that player away and you suddenly have nowhere else to go with the ball. Both extremes are bad. Like anything in life, you want to find your way to the middle ground. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Green Bay Packers' Matthew Golden? Is he a bust? Is he about to have a huge year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree, let's start some discussions. Get into a few debates, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you be part of it. I want to build something that we all feel genuinely connected to, something we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.